Hello and welcome to Exploited Crimes and Technology. My name is Opal Singleton and I am the host of this show every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590, The Answer. Well, we have a complex conversation today and I hope you're up for it because I need you. I have done this work for 13 years. I've done it 10 years, going on 11 years right here in Riverside County. The kind of work I'm talking about is combating human trafficking and sextortion. That's blackmail with a photo when your 14-year-old something and brother or son, cousin, nephew, daughter decides they're going to send off a naked photo and based on some fantasy they've created in their little head. And the next thing you know, they're being blackmailed. But oftentimes, I often work with human trafficking, and there are many, many people talking about human trafficking today. It's kind of interesting because it seems like the more people that we have talking about it, the less reality we deal with in how it really happens. And I want to share with you because there is some legislation that is pending. In all the 13 years I have in this business, I have never seen it like it is today. People ask me, is this getting better or getting worse? Well, up to last year, I would have said, I think it's getting better. We got a movie coming out to try to educate kids and parents about where naked photos go when you hit send and why people want your naked photo and why they're trying to trick our kids. And like that. But so much has happened over the past year that has changed absolutely everything. And we are just getting started. And I just want to be upfront with you because one of the problems is that the politicians are slick. And they really know how to create legislation and present it to us in such a fashion that you think it's okay. And that is because most of us never read the real legislation. They read the sanitized version that they want you to read or to hear about. And it takes a lot of effort. And most of us are very busy. And so we just vote no on everything without really realizing what we've done. And on top of it, what I'm seeing is that you're having a lot of activity taking place in a state that we don't get to vote on. We vote for the people to vote on them, but then we don't get to vote on some very important issues. And one of them that I'm going to talk about today is SB 357. It's interesting that it's SB 357 because it kind of reminds me of 57, Proposition 57, which was an interesting proposition that has really put us where we are today. And I think few people who voted for Proposition 57 in 2016 had a clue where this was headed or how this would look. So I'm going to spend the next hour, I'm going to ask you to basically welcome to my world because I want you to understand the reality of the world in which you live in today and the one that's about to change. My guess is sometime within the next 2 weeks. And I cannot sit here and tell you that that's a good change. I think it'll be absolutely catastrophic. So what I'm talking about is something called SB 357, if you want to look it up. That is a bill that was put out by Senator Wiener up in Sacramento. And of course, the Democrats are heavy in this state. And I try not to take a political side one way or the other. We are a nonprofit that cares deeply about kids. But I have to take a side on this particular legislation because I believe that it is absolutely catastrophic to our children and catastrophic to your community and catastrophic to the future of our society. SB 357, in essence, will legalize street prostitution. Now, I've heard both sides of the story. I've been at dinner parties where people go, oh, we need to legalize prostitution, then it's controlled. And I agree the government doesn't belong in the bedroom. I agree with that basic theory. But here's the problem. It is not that simple. When let me just kind of share with you how sex trafficking works, and then we can get deep into why this is so devastating. Many people think that, this is that I'm just outlawing all prostitution. Well, I believe that there is such a thing as an adult male or female, or other today, as we call them, transgender, whatever. And if they want to put out their body and make some money off of it, that is their choice. It is against the law as we speak in the state of California. Quite frankly, it's a misdemeanor, so it's not that big a deal, but it is against the law. And but what happens there is, and I have been in this business 13 years, and I will tell you that for the most part, it may start out absolutely independent, or it may not. It may start out just as a boyfriend who's trying to talk her into, making a few extra bucks on the side because he's about to get a job somewhere. Sometimes it starts just with a 14-year-old girl who goes online and meets up with some guy on the internet. They don't date these days. They hook up. That right there tells you a lack of commitment. But anyway, the next thing you know, he's a gang guy, and she belongs to a gang, and her life changes forever. This is a family show, so I won't get terribly graphic, but it is an absolute nightmare. I've seen many, many beautiful adult women and men and children, young teenagers, that get started in this thinking they're going to do some amateur pornography and make a little extra money. Or they're going to just, why give it away when you can make money off of it? I get all of those arguments, but I live on the other side of the street when this all goes bad. And I will tell you, it goes bad more than half of the time. I see people who start out in it, and somebody comes up to them and says, hey, you're not charging enough money. I'll be your marketing agent. I'll handle your social media. You need to charge more. We'll make you look good. You can be selective, and off they go. And their lives change forever. And I've also seen it when it goes very, very badly. And it's often with our young people, for what it's worth. That boyfriend all of a sudden turns out that you have a quota and you don't get to keep the money. And you have to make $1,000 a night or you don't get to eat. And that is how it is in the Inland Empire. The average person in the life of commercial sex in the Inland Empire will be required to make between $800 and $1,000 a night, or they won't get to eat. And they may be kicked or punched or burned or slapped or raped or a myriad of other things. They are not free to go. They usually don't get started by kidnapping. That's a total myth for the most part. Now, can you be kidnapped and put into commercial sex? Yeah, you can, but it doesn't normally happen that way. It starts out as a relationship. Now, that may not be true if you're an unaccompanied minor who owes money to a coyote and you're here in town and they're threatening your family back home. Then you don't get the choice. It isn't like you fall in love with somebody. You have to come up with a certain amount of money. And the trouble of it is you earn the money, you don't get to keep the money. And that's how it all works in the real life of commercial sex. I share this with you because SB 357 will legalize street prostitution. But it goes a bit farther, and that's really where we're going to go next second. I will tell you that I've just really understood this in the last 15 minutes before I came on the air, that there is a grandfather clause in there that not only will there be no more interference allowed by law enforcement. In other words, the way it works now is they will go in, if you're a minor and you're in commercial sex, they free you and offer you services. If you're an adult, you will get charged. But what the task forces do is sit down and say to you, we can help you get out of the life. We can get you some medical treatment. We'll get you away from your pimp. We will get you safe haven. We will give you legal assistance if you will get out of the life. And if they agree to that, they're not arrested and they are treated as a victim. However, if they don't agree to that, they get arrested. And that is how it goes. This SB 357 will release all previous people potentially that have been charged for prostitution and pandering. This is Opal Singleton. We're up against that break, so be with us. We'll be right back.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the darknet will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift. Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Hey, there are many good restaurants in the Inland Empire, but really great restaurants are hard to find. Let me tell you about the Toasted Barrel in Corona. It's a trendy, upscale steakhouse with great pasta and seafood. It's a fantastic choice for birthdays and anniversaries or just that special night out with your loved one and friends. Inland Empire magazine has awarded them Best Restaurant and Brunch for the past 3 years. The owners, Ed and Shirley, are friendly and attentive to your needs. If you're a prime rib connoisseur, this place is for you. Go ahead and try it out. The Toasted Barrel, located at 1300 El Sobrante Road in Corona. Or Google them at Toasted Barrel to make reservations. I guarantee you, you're going to love it. Be sure and tell Ed and Shirley that Opal sent you. It will be a night you'll never forget.
Real estate sales in the Inland Empire are really hot. Sellers and buyers recognize that these low interest rates will not last. Sean and Colleen at Caldwell Banker Armstrong Properties in Riverside are proud to sponsor this show. They are the best in the Inland Empire. They're fair, honest, creative, and they care about you and your situation. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call Sean and Colleen at 951-529-4066.
AM 590, The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton, and we are talking about a couple of laws. SB 357 is a law that is a hair's breadth away from passing in Sacramento, up on Capitol Hill in California. And it is a very concerning law when you start to look at it. What it basically has done is rewritten the penal code for what we classify as commercial sex or prostitution. Now, it will not affect minors, and I get that. You know, we're still dealing with the fact that so many of our kids get caught up in this, and their lives are changed forever. And so are the lives of their family, by the way. But this is for adults. I don't know how many of you remember, but it was only about 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, I was coming home from a meeting in San Bernardino, maybe 8 o'clock at night, and I was out on Fifth Street, I think it was, and I counted 37 people of the night, if you will, in one block. That was 37 commercial sex providers, for lack of the real term, which is prostitution, in one block. Now, the city of San Bernardino and the county of San Bernardino has done an excellent job of trying to clean up that community and that neighborhood and get services and get the people out of the lives and arrest the pimps and also the bottom girls. Now, I'm going to tell you about bottom girls because I want you to understand what's about to happen in this law. 60% of girls that are recruited into prostitution that are being trafficked are recruited by another girl. This is the pimp's right-hand person, if you will. And many of these girls may do the business themselves, but they're also responsible for recruiting and disciplining any other girls that maybe don't meet the criteria. In other words, they didn't make their $1,000 or, some guy didn't pay or whatever the thing is. And so what happens in that case is that these bottom girls are often more violent and more vicious than the pimps themselves. So it makes it kind of difficult for law enforcement when they go in and they see commercial sex. You see women who have been beaten up, who've been burned, who've been have ligature marks on their hands and their feet, and they're hurting. And they're trying to figure out which one's the victim and which one's the perpetrator, because some of the girls are actually perpetrators, female pimps. So what is about to happen here is that we are looking at legalizing all of this in your community. We spent millions here in Riverside cleaning up University Avenue. We're still spending millions trying to clean up Holt Boulevard over in Ontario. And Florida Avenue out in Hemet. These are called blades or tracks where people are put out to earn money. It is against the law to purchase commercial sex. And I will tell you that these law enforcement agencies run the stings in the hopes of being able to protect the person that is out there that is being victimized. So it is not a clean, straightforward kind of thing. I've been to way too many dinner parties where they say, just legalize it and everybody will be protected. That is just not true. I've seen the studies out of Amsterdam. I've seen the studies out of Sweden. I've seen them out of the brothels up in Nevada. I have seen them till the cows come home. And there is a portion of the people that are not being victimized. But what about the portion that are? And it's usually more than half of the girls. And so legalizing it doesn't work. It doesn't make it happen. We legalized pot. But we still just 2 weeks ago had a $1 billion bust of illegal pot growing in Lancaster by the cartels. We have it out in Anza and Sage. We saw it in San Jacinto. We saw it over in Eastvale. We see illegal pot grow, even though it's legal to do that. They don't want to go through the process and they want to make money illegally. Well, this is the kind of problem that you have when you start trying to figure out how to protect people who are engaged in commercial sex that are literally not being able to make their own decisions. Here's the problem with Proposition 357. There are no restrictions on it. There's no limitations. They will have a blade coming to your business right next to you. If you have a C-store, they can be doing prostitution out in front of a convenience store. If you have a liquor store, if you have a church, if you have a school, it doesn't say can't take place within 1,000 feet of a school. No, prostitution, it says in here, can take place anywhere. On top of it, it goes so far. And by the way, I work this a lot over in LA. There are areas over on Figueroa in LA. It's just solid condoms and needles. And it's married in with the homeless population on top of it. So how does law enforcement do any kind of intervention to assist someone who is being violated? Because even if you have a black eye, even if you've got burn marks, if you're on that track, according to this new law, you can do what you want. And the law enforcement won't be able to stop it. What is going to result from this? You're going to see pimps all across the United States coming to California to make some extra money. And on top of it, you're going to see all the sex ads will be changed over to say, meet me at 5th and G, or meet me on University Avenue. And you are about to see a major increase of street walking commercial sex in a town near you. I have an article here at the next section I'm going to read about what's going on in San Diego down there by the naval base. And I'm going to tell you that this is about to happen. But one of the things that I discovered today, just before I came on the air, is this is going to be retroactive. Okay? What has happened is anybody who's been arrested for these crimes in the past, if they're still in jail, they can appeal that and get out early. Now, we just talked about Proposition 57, about how 76,000 prisoners are scheduled to get out early now, and it is a done deal. Nobody can do anything about that. It has gone through the California Supreme Court, and that Justice Sakaiwe said if the California voter wanted to not allow the sex offender out early, they would have said so, and they did not. Well, it's because the California voter is uninformed. And so what is about to happen is that 76,000 prisoners are being considered for early release. 20,000 of them are registered sex offenders or will be when they get out. And it will also do away with the base crime. Okay, I didn't say that correctly. It will only consider the base crime, and it will do away with enhanced sentencing. I will tell you that the former Attorney General of the United States, without naming names, who is now in a high place of office within our United States, is the one that helped craft that bill. And they knew that it did not exclude sex offenders. They knew sex offenders would most likely get out early. And that is about to happen, coming near to you. What about all of the women who testified against them? What about all the people that said, you know, this guy was violent and he put me away? Well, that bill said it would be based on the base crime. And nobody explained that to the California voter. In other words, if you got a 30-year sentence, 10 years for sex trafficking, 10 years for gang enhancement, and 10 years for carrying a gun and threatening with a gun, that's a 30-year sentence. But it's based on the base sentence of 10 years for sex crimes. That means that if you serve 7 of the first 10 years, they do away with the next 20 years, and you get out early. And on top of it, it had an emergency provision that the state of California, late on a Friday night when you weren't paying attention, declared a state of emergency. The Office of Administrative Law said that there's too many prisoners that have COVID, and now we're going to enforce that law, and the early release has begun. I already am working with one family whose daughter was trafficked when she was 16, and she finally got out of the life when she was 21. She testified against the guy. He was violent. He beat her. He broke her teeth. He really messed her up. And that guy served 1 year, and he's out. And do you know that she died the next day? Now, we don't know that he was involved in it, but isn't the timing interesting? She OD'd, and she hadn't been on drugs for over 4 years. So we're looking at all those people coming back to our community. At the same time, we're legalizing street prostitution, and law enforcement will not be allowed to intervene. This is Opal Singleton, Exploited Crimes and Technology. Be right back.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. I want to tell you about a book I wrote called Seduced, The Grooming of America's Teenagers. It's all about how predators access, groom, recruit, and exploit our young people using social media, online gaming, video chat rooms. Technology is changing at the speed of light, and we have to understand how to keep our kids safe from predators. So you can get this book by going to www.millionkids.org. It's $16. I'll sign it and I'll ship it to you personally. We hope that you will order this book, educate yourself about how to keep our kids safe in this day of changing technology. Join us each Saturday for our radio show at Exploited Crimes and Technology, at 3 o'clock on AM 590, The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. My name is Opal Singleton, and I am the president and CEO of Million Kids. That's MILLION, millionkids.org, not .com, millionkids.org. The .com is some sort of crazy rock band. You don't want that. So, but I share that with you because I serve as a training and outreach coordinator for the Riverside County Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force. We are so fortunate in Riverside County to have that task force, and I'm their original member of it. And I'm so grateful to have served with them over the past 11 years. I never thought that I'm doing this like in my retirement. I've trained 500,000 people. Can't believe that. In my retirement, it's crazy. A couple of books. We got a movie be coming out, but hopefully in the next 3 to 4 months at the most. We're getting there. I've seen it. It's looking good. And I've got some other things going. But we also run Million Kids Insider Alert. And if you really care about this subject and you want to really become informed on it, go over to millionkids.org and sign up for Insider Alert. There is no charge for that. But about 3 times a week, we never sell your name. We try not to harass you. We try not to beg for money too badly. I'm probably the worst fundraiser in the whole world, quite frankly, but I do want you to know, those of you who donate to support our work, I'm very, very grateful. I really don't have a lot of time for fundraising. We're so busy, going after the bad guy here. But we sit with families that need assistance. I am the training and outreach coordinator for the task force, so I go out and do a lot of training and public speeches. And we're just so fortunate in our community, in the cities of Riverside and even San Bernardino, even though I don't work with them. They're great people over there. Fontana PD, some of my real heroes that we have in our community, the kinds of sheriffs that stand up and say, we're not going to take this, the kinds of DAs that go against the craziness that's going on. We're so fortunate out here to do that. And I'm so fortunate for those of you that support us in your prayers and also support us financially. So that's simply millionkids.org. Go in, sign up for Insider Alerts. They come out about 3 times a week. We keep you posted on, we do case analysis of the latest cases in our community and also these legislations, and that's how you can find more about it. Well, along with everything else that I was doing today came a headline: Prostitution operates at all hours near Naval Base in San Diego. This is an article written by an investigative producer. They're hard to come by these days, somebody who actually does this. His name is David Gottfredson. I was thinking I should look him up and have him on my show because you just don't get investigative journalists all that much anymore, and he did a great job. So in this, what I was reading, and I thought to myself at the time that this is just so important, says business owners along Main Street near Naval Base San Diego in Barrio Logan are fed up with alleged prostitution in their neighborhood. This is coming to a neighborhood near you. This is why I'm reading it to you. Streetwalkers and Johns appear to be hooking up all hours of the days on the side streets, including various streets. This part of town just isn't America's finest city. He goes on to say, every day, girls back and forth, guys coming to pick up all the time. Says News 8 spent one afternoon recording video of activity in the area. Streetwalkers flagging down cars, talking to Johns, getting into vehicles, and driving away. I read you this article because this is how it's about to look in our community when they pass SB 357. Other business owners shared video of prostitution taking place in broad daylight, all-out brawls in the street, and lewd acts in public. You see people having sex right on the street, and you can't do much about it. I mean, you say, oh my gosh, again? San Diego police are certainly aware of the activity. Cell phone video showed a streetwalker getting into a truck right before a police cruiser pulls up behind her. The male driver sees the officer. It doesn't take long for the woman to hop out and walk away. There's no respect for people driving their cars. If you're coming down the street, they block your way. He said customers have refused to come into his business because the prostitution activity on the street. They have certain people working in the morning, the noon, the afternoon. I know it sounds like it can't be true, but it is absolutely true, the business owner said. And then they talk about the vice unit and the San Diego police saying there isn't a whole lot they can do about it. They say they can't do anything unless they catch them in the act. Some business owners told News 8 that Johns appear to be coming from the naval base. They said the problem seems to get worse on military paydays. I heard they're charging around $100 to $150. They're giving it away, and they go on to talk about this. But reason I took the time to share this story with you is that's how it's about to be when this passes. This bill has already passed the Senate, and it is just short, a couple of days probably short of passing in the Assembly. It's already passed on the Assembly Public Safety Committee. And right now it's in what they call the appropriation funding. And once that's done, the final vote, it is over. And it will change our society. Your kids will see street prostitution everywhere. And it'll be as acceptable as going out for a hamburger at McDonald's. And there will be people who will be violated, and you can see them being violated. You will see a pimp standing next to her, telling her and beating her, and you won't be able to interfere. This is a serious problem. But what is scarier to me is the fact that they went so far without telling you or anybody. I mean, I've written now to Fox News, I've written to Epoch Times, I've written to a lot of people. You need to hear this is about to happen because they have actually repealed Section 653.20 of the Penal Code. And all of these are rewriting the definition of loitering, or also street prostitution. But I want you to hear this. Section 653.29, a person currently serving a sentence for a conviction of violating those sections, whether by trial or whether they cop to plea, that isn't what it says, but that's what it means, may petition for a dismissal of their sentence before the trial court. And it goes on to say the court shall grant the petition to recall the sentence or dismiss the sentence because it is legally invalid. They are rewriting all of these laws so that it not only will continue to take place right out on the street, in front of schools, in front of churches, in front of businesses, everywhere they want to put it, with almost no protection for the girls. As even when they legalized prostitution up in Nevada, they could get STD checks and wellness checks, and the police were allowed to check up on them and interview them to make sure they weren't being trafficked. There is none of that in this law. There is no protection for that person that is out there. And on top of it, in addition to the fact that they're about to let out 76,000 prisoners early, that does not include what I just read you. All of those people that have previously been convicted for commercial sex will be considered, their court shall grant them the petition to dismiss the sentence because it is legally invalid. I need you to think about this strong with me. This is how you reach me. I don't know what can be done. This is the 10th hour. I mean, this is the end of the process as we begin to understand what is taking place. But we need to get on the rooftops and scream as loud as we can before this passes. And it is literally down to a matter of days if we have that much, because it will change your society. It will change your kids. and what they see and what they participate in. No, this does not include child commercial sex. It does not. But I'm going to tell you that it doesn't take long for pimps to find ways around this. They're already doing it. They are offering out teenagers online. You heard me just a couple of weeks ago talk about Operation Intercept that was conducted by the Riverside County Sheriff in the DA's office. They picked up 25 guys who thought they were going to meet up with a 13-year-old or under 14 for sex, and 3 of them were carrying guns. Imagine if your kids get caught up in this. Now, this is adult street prostitution, but I'm going to tell you there is an underground economy in any time you get into commercial sex, and it involves our young people. This is a life-changing experience. It is a society-changing experience. It reminds me of Pompeii, and I've been to Pompeii, and that society changed forever. I am very, very concerned. I hope you'll write to me at opal@millionkids.org. We're up against that break, so I'm going to be right back.
Custom Service Systems, a proud supporter of Million Kids, is a family-owned and operated commercial cleaning company servicing the Inland Empire and surrounding areas since 1974. CSS takes pride in their ability to maintain the business facilities they serve and their long-lasting relationships with their valued clients. CSS provides a variety of cleaning systems customized to client needs, including deep cleaning and disinfectant to be COVID-19 compliant. From basic office cleaning to windows and floors, CSS will clean up your mess so you don't have to stress. Custom Service Systems cares about families and communities and wants to give back. Custom Service Systems are proud supporters of Million Kids to keep kids safe from predators. If you need the best cleaning services for your business or corporation, contact Custom Service Systems at cssclean.com. Again, cssclean.com, or call 951-781-9345. That's 951-781-9345. You will know you found the best. Custom Service Systems.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Let me tell you about my friend Doris Anderson at Remax Realty in Upland. She is amazing. She's kind, she's patient, but she listens. And she's informed, and she will help you with your real estate transaction in a way that works for you. Doris, in full disclosure, often supports the work of Million Kids because she cares about young people. But she knows how to analyze a market, how to market a property, and how to find just the right transaction for both buyers and sellers. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate or invest in income property, contact Doris Anderson at Remax Realty 951-733-8899. That's 951-733-8899. 951-733-8899.
This message is all about Million Kids, the organization that helps locate missing kids throughout Southern California and educates to keep kids safe from predators. Million Kids educates school administrators, teachers, parents, and teenagers how predators identify a potential victim and the methods they use to recruit innocent kids. BMW of Riverside is a proud supporter of Million Kids. Visit BMW of Riverside at the Adams Street exit off the 91 freeway or click bmwofriverside.com.
AM 590. The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton again, and we are talking about SB 357. Please take the time to Google it. It is a very difficult read. It took me about 3 hours, and I'm trained in it, so no wonder the average person can't figure out what's happening. This isn't about whether we should legalize prostitution or not, although that's what they're going to turn it into. What they're really saying there is that they are going to make it so that law enforcement will not be able to interfere into street sex. And by the way, 80% of street sex takes place in a car, and this includes cars as being part of the public loitering deal. So this is really serious stuff. It is, people ask me, what do you think? How do we fight it? This is the most challenging time I've ever had in my life as far as fighting this. I've been doing this now for so long, and we honestly thought we were getting better at it. I found that if I could educate my kids, educate kids in school. Kids don't want to be violated. Once they understand where a naked photo goes when you hit send, they get it and they start to look out for their younger brothers and sisters. But we just learned from Pornhub. Pornhub was the largest porn site in the world until recently, when they had now almost $500,000 in lawsuits. Excuse me, I've got that wrong. Over $500 million in lawsuits. And what they did is they advertised out to young people that they can make $40,000 a week by doing amateur pornography. And they literally had to take down almost 10 million videos that our kids thought they were going to buy a new pair of Nikes and make some extra money. And besides, they might get discovered as the next porn star. And so that's how it all happened. Our world is changing. But the problem with this thing is that we don't understand where this is headed. These kids get started in it. These adults get started in it. Lonely housewives, guys who think they're really big hunks and want to get discovered. And they get out there and they get in this underground world that turns seedy on them very, very quickly. So I am concerned for our future of our kids, because this is the first step to legalizing prostitution in the state of California. We have a very strong sex workers union in the state of California, in the porn industry, in the Hollywood industry over there. And so this is just the beginning of what is about to happen. But it is also the beginning of the destruction of a lot of people's lives. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to be hard to ever put the cork back in the bottle once this passes, because people will be involved in it and it will be the law of the land. And basically, there won't be a whole lot law enforcement can do about it. But on top of that, I believe that it's going to change our society, because now you're going to have, we have homeless encampments all over Southern California. We have beautiful areas that are beautiful, that are now full of homeless people. And I feel bad for the homeless people, and they're trying to find ways to get them into shelter and get them assistance. But a homeless woman is a trafficked woman, because you can't sleep at night. We know that. I trained those people. But what's about to happen now is that you're going to have street sex everywhere you look in California. The tracks will be back. The blades will be back. That 37 girls that I counted in one night in one block on over there in San Bernardino will be small time, because literally people will be bringing their girls from all across the United States because they know nobody can do anything about it. I don't know if you're aware of this, but trafficked women and men don't get to keep the money they earn. I know for sex buyers, they think, oh, they're there willingly. They're there because they chose to. And besides, I'm paying them plenty of money. Yes, you are. But if you follow our cases on Million Kids, you will see that the average girl will make over $1,000 a night, and she will be lucky if she gets $10 of that to buy a hamburger. They keep the money. This is about money laundering for gangs and cartels. I'm also concerned about the number of people that are crossing our border to come up here to earn money, but they owe money to a cartel. And this will be a way for coyotes, for gang members, for cartel members to put their people out there for sex, and that money will go right back to the coyote. So this is a very serious change in our society. I never really thought I would live so long as to see this kind of activity. All I can do is try to inform you and ask you to contact your assemblyman. If you know how to do that, I think you really must do that. At least we need to fight back while we still have time. We may not have much more time, maybe a week at the most, maybe 2. But tell them, do not pass SB 357, because it will change your community. It will change your life. And I just cannot see how anything good comes out of this. If you're in the life of commercial sex and you're being exploited, you can get help or you can get someone else help. That number is 1-888-373-7888. Let me give it one more time. 1-888-3737-888. You can report anonymously and ask to get people help and get assistance. We have all kinds of agencies throughout Southern California to assist people out of the life of commercial sex, whether you're male or female, whether you're an adult or whether you're a teen or a child. We have a lot of services. In the meantime, I want to just take the last part of this to say, I cannot tell you how much you all mean to me as an audience. This is tough, tough, tough business. I chose it. I fought it. I've been here for 13 years, but I have never seen it as tough as it is today. So I thank you for your prayers, for the churches that pray for us, the individuals that pray for us, the organizations that do fundraising to support our work. We're not a big organization. When we get money, it goes right back out to education, prevention, intervention, supporting people that need assistance. And so it is really one of those times in our lives where we need to stop and get sober and pay attention to what is happening. This is scary business. When you have a state the size of California that is quietly slipping through a bill that will change every community within their state and not for the good. And they're quietly putting that through without letting you know. And they're quietly including the fact that more and more people will get out of prison again, in addition to the 76,000 from Proposition 57. This is SB 357, and it is quietly making its way through Sacramento. I need your help. We need your prayers. I thank each and every one of you that go to millionkids.org and donate, whether you're old-fashioned and you send in a check. I like those checks. Trust me, I go to the mailbox myself and get them, and I appreciate that for each and every one of you that do that. Or if you're fancy-dancy, you can text that in or just go online and donate with your credit card. I appreciate each and every one of you that do that. But this is not about raising money. This is about the future of our society, our community, our town, our family, our kids. And it's really all about who we are as a society. When you have a law that is so dramatically going to change our communities, that is being quietly slipped through Capitol up in Sacramento without ever telling you what is going on, and burying that wording in there like they did with Proposition 57, where they hid in there that it's only based on the base count, that enhanced sentencing will not account, and that 20,000 sex offenders could get out early. They didn't tell you that when they posted it on there. And it is amazing the number of celebrities and wealthy tech companies that supported that bill. And then to now have another bill that's quietly slipping through that will allow street prostitution everywhere in California, and including getting a lot more people out early. We need to set up and take notice. This is, I think, one of the most important bills of this decade. And I'm going to ask you to get involved, to pray about it, to look it up, SB 357, and do what you can to contact your assemblyman and get attention. I appreciate it very much. My name is Opal Singleton. You can write to me at opal, O-P-A-L, @millionkids.org. Folks, I'm going to ask you this week, pray about all this, but stop and look at your spouse and tell them how proud you are of them. Put your arms around your kids and let them know how much you love them and what they mean to you. You folks have a great week, and I'll see you next Saturday at 3 o'clock on AM 590.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift. Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.